Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 60 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 3. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, the Russian Grand Prix. A very topsy-turvy one, that for us, but in the end, a very good result, and we come into the Japanese Grand Prix then with the championship lead over Charles Leclerc. Obviously not a huge margin, and we know Leclerc is always going to be on the pace as ever, as it has been this entire season so far, but we've got a very overcast weekend, then it's a very doom and gloom episode it'll kind of look like here, and we've got some rain forecast right at the end of the Grand Prix, so that might be another spanner in the works to play around here at Suzuka, but quite fitting actually, because there might be a typhoon going towards the Japanese Grand Prix in real life actually, so the rain almost matches up in some kind of way, but you can see here things are looking very, very tight at the top in the R&D chart. The only car and team to improve there looks to be, I think that's Haas. I think they've improved quite a fair margin actually. You can see the kind of top 4-5 teams very, very close, so as always it's going to be quite top at the front in qualifying, and speaking of that, let's get onto Saturday.
Welcome to the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar. We're here at Suzuka for qualifying today ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. I want to talk briefly about the strategy in these qualifying sessions. Anthony Davidson, how can a driver adjust their approach to gain those critical extra tenths of a second?
Well, qualifying isn't about adjusting your approach necessarily, it's more about trying to repeat a low fuel run that you've practiced prior to this session. You're looking for perfection on the lap, and that's hard to achieve if you're trying something new. There are some variables that can stand in your way, however. Track position or unexpected yellow flags, for example. Coupled with ever-changing track conditions, it's important to be out there at the right moment. But as a driver, you have to try and ignore these distractions and just keep your mind focused on that one perfect lap.
Right, so delving into the first part of qualifying then, it really is doom and gloom looking there, very depressing around Suzuka as the clouds are out as we go around the outside of Daki Fiat, the slow car on the outlap, I think that was, a little bit dirty here, taken into spoon curves, but no matter, no issue. We've got just under 1 minute to 2 minutes to go of qualifying here in this first session. This will be our one and only flyer. This should be enough to get us through into Q2. It hasn't been an issue for us the entire season. We slide through though into the chicane there with a lock-up in the front right, the rear end just stepped out a little bit. This setup wasn't 100% to my comfort. I didn't know if I could have a better setup, but of course we've now gone to Parc Ferme, so I can't really change it now, but there was a little bit more to be desired, I guess, especially through Sector 1, I think. The car wasn't as planted as I was hoping. For a maxed out car, it didn't feel as comfy as I thought it could, so I think that was maybe the setup just needed tweaking with the anti-roll bars, but potentially with the suspension arms, but like I said, we're in Parc Ferme now, so that's not much we can do, but you saw there, we got through into Q2, so that's all fine. As long as we get through into the top 10 shootout, I'll be happy. And speaking about that, I've been complaining this entire Q2 section. We go across the line and we go fastest by quite a decent margin there. So again, the kind of lap times being a bit funny. It's been the way kind of for the last 3-4 episodes where the lap times are fluctuating so much in Q1, 2 and 3 between myself versus the AI. So I just don't know really where we actually are on the pace until we hit Q3. So here we are then in the top 10 shootout here and trying to do the best job we can. Pretty decent second sector, I think that was. As we come across the line, it's P2 then, and we're 3.5 tenths just over off Leclerc there, so we've got some decent time to find, and we do actually start to find that in Sector 2 again, kind of getting to the limits of where the track is and the car is, and nearly finding about 2 tenths there in the second sector. We're down to P5 now, as others have already set their second flyer lap, so Leclerc is still on provisional pole, but we're down to P5 with the likes of Gasly and Hulkenberg around us there, so we have to try and carry this forward, and so we're slowly creeping up to just about 3 tenths gained here as we go through into the spoon curve, so that 3.5 tenths gap we had to Leclerc could be closed here, and so we could be on to try and match him for pole position. As we come across the line, we gain even more time, and we go purple at the end there, and we are going to get pole position at the Japanese Grand Prix. It'll be a 1-2 for Toro Rosso. I think it's been a decent while since we've had a 1-2 as a team, actually, because McLaren have been so on it as of late there. They've been right there kind of splitting us, so it's kind of nice to have a 1-2 here at the Japanese Grand Prix, and even more so because, remember, we're powered by Honda, and this is Honda's home race at the Japanese GP, so absolutely awesome scenes there for them at the start of the Grand Prix tomorrow. But tomorrow is a long day. On Sunday there might be some rain involved as well, so that is always going to be a bit of an iffy situation once we get to it, but we're on pole, we're in the best way, we've done half the job. Let's go do the second half. Let's go to Sunday.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a Drivers' Championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Now I want to ask you about Nico Hülkenberg. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. The engineer lines up on pole position with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Norris, Max Verstappen and Gasly, Weber, Russell, Butler and Lance Stroll, Ricciardo, Vettel, Valtteri Bottas and Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, Raikkonen, Romain Grosjean and Lewis Hamilton. Magnussen and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid, and with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So thankfully no penalties for either myself or Charles Leclerc, so it will be a straight fight from the front row to turn 1 for the lead of this Grand Prix. I know obviously Leclerc is going to be very rapid as all the AI are off the 5 red lights, so I'll be surprised if we keep P1 into turn 1, but we'll try our best. And our engineer even actually said audibly when we loaded into the starting grid actually to watch out for turn 1 and try and keep tight to the line, so I'll try my best to try and cover off the inside, but I think it's going to be a bit tricky here. The strategy will be a one-stop with the tyre wear levels not being too high now anymore in Season 3 here at Suzuka. From the soft tyre to mediums, we can see there that rain will come in, so we'll probably not be on the medium tyre for that long actually in hindsight. But let's just get into this then from pole position on the grid. A front row lockout for Toro Rosso here at the home GP of the engine supplier to 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix here in Suzuka. The lights are out and we're underway, and it's an okay start for us initially, but then getting bogged down in third gear. We try to cover off the inside line, but Leclerc gets the nose in and he's up into first place. Surprise, surprise. We've got Sergio Perez around the outside as well, who tries to nab P2. We maintain that position. Bit of contact made there as the pop-up window comes up for the warning of collision, but we maintain P2. But lo and behold, no shock. Leclerc into P1. I wasn't able to manage to keep the lead. But saying that, as we move on to lap number 2, we get a very, very interesting radio message from our engineer.
Some information on Leclerc. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
So Leclerc has some sort of mechanical issue on the car right now. He's going to be slow. We've seen that so many times before with other cars, and they really do slow down. So this is pretty much inevitable that we will get first place. I'm pretty sure. You can already see almost slowed up straight away as that radio message stopped as we went through the double right-handers there in Sector 2. So we come towards spoon curves. Just take it nice and easy, patient. Don't need to make any rash moves. I think we should be able to get this done on the exit as we go towards 130R on lap number 2. So we're getting very fortunate here as we go through onto the exit. I almost smashed the back of Leclerc there, so I had to kind of brake check myself there, lock up on the front left, but here we go then, very easily done. I'm pretty sure, unfortunately, Sergio Perez, it's also going to try and come through here. He's going to be right up my jump on the gearbox. You can see trying to get a toe off me, and so we go round the outside. We lift off to give Leclerc some room through 130R. We go up into P1. Leclerc remains in P2 for now, but for how much longer really as we go through the chicane, and you can see Perez is right up the gearbox on Leclerc. As we go down the hill, we get a good exit there, and he's slow, and so whatever the issue is, we don't know what exactly it is, but it's slowing him down, and so Leclerc is going to go down the order, I would say, probably into turn 1 as Perez tries to go down the inside. And there you can see Leclerc goes wide and actually gets pushed off circuit a little bit there as the elbows come out for the McLaren man, and both McLarens, in fact. Look at that lovely little move there for Lando Norris round the outside there, and even nearly Max Verstappen tries to overtake Leclerc, so he nearly goes down 3 positions in the span of about half a lap there. But now it's myself that leads from Sergio Perez, Norris, Leclerc, and the 2 Renaults of Verstappen and Lucas Weber, and it's only a matter of time probably before Leclerc gets overtaken by those 2 Renaults. But we move on to our race, and focusing onto our race on lap number 3 onto 4, and we've got 2 fast McLarens right behind us, and I'm not too great through the final corner. You guys know that historically, and so here comes Sergio Perez then, DRS open. We're going to try and squeeze him to the right, then go to the left for the normal racing line and just try and take that normally. Perez has to cut in behind and stay behind us, but for how much longer? That McLaren is so quick, and I'm not feeling too quick, I can't lie. On heavier fuel, this car isn't too great. Like I said, the setup's not there, and I just feel like the weight balance isn't there, and as I say that, Sergio Perez, I think he's there on the inside inside. You can't quite see him, but he is there on the inside. He comes through out of nowhere there and forces us wide, and we make massive contact with his front right tyre. We almost get spewed into the grass and gravel. We hold it through, thankfully, and maintain the car in a straight line, but we lose 2 positions then, and it's now a 1-2 for McLaren. Sergio Perez leads Lando Norris, and I think quickly there on the heads-up display, I think I saw we might have picked up a little bit of damage on our front left of the wing, because obviously we smashed Perez's front right so hard there, so I'm surprised we didn't get any damage, any sort of kind of major damage, but I think we got some light damage. But now, look at that, Lando Norris round the outside of Sergio Perez. He drifts through turn 1 basically there, bit of Gymkhana here in Japan, and gets the lead of the Grand Prix. What an insane move there. I've never seen an AI that like ballsy around the outside. Usually they go off and they go wide and actually give up the position, and instead he's held it through really greatly there, and so he's up into P1. Perez now down to P2. I'm going to try my best to haggle him to try and get him through as we move on to lap number 6. I feel like he's a little bit slow now for whatever reason compared to his teammate Norris, and so we're back in the DRS range, overtake mode, rich mix going, and here we go. Perez will try and squeeze us to the right, but we're not going to have any of it. We get to the right hand side down the inside of turn 1, and we get up into P2 then, but Lando Norris is looking pretty damn quick. I don't know about Perez. He seems to have slowed down for some reason. I don't know, maybe cooked his tyres whilst trying to overtake me, because by the time we move on to lap number 8, he's come in for an early pit stop for his set of medium tyres. But like I mentioned, I think there was a bit of damage, and yes, there is some damage to that front wing on the left hand side there. You can see it's just about a lime colour going to like yellow, so it's maybe I don't know. I don't know if it's worth changing. I'm going to say yes to the repair wing damage on the heads-up display, so I'm going to tell my team if there is damage detectable to change, do change it. But I do know in this game there is a region where it's kind of lime green to yellow on the front wing damage, where the game doesn't actually physically see that there's damage. Like there might be aesthetic damage and heads-up display damage, but actually on the actual wing itself, I can't really, it's hard to explain, but on the actual wing itself, the game doesn't think there's enough damage to change it, even if you say, change my wing for damage, because the game just doesn't detect damage, basically. So it's a little bit frustrating that way, because that's what happens. They don't change my wing. We change the tyres there for an earlier pit stop in this Grand Prix onto medium tyres, but there's no change on the wing, so if it's just aesthetics, that's fine, but I don't think there is. I think there's a little bit of understeer, because I am feeling it into every single right-hander. There's that just sniff of understeer there, so it's going to be a little bit annoying. I'm going to have to carry that damage through the entire Grand Prix unless I hit my front wing anymore, basically, as we go on through this race. So we now move on to lap number 11, and it's all getting very dark and gloomy compared to lap number 1, as obviously that rain is going to come on through into this GP late on into this Grand Prix. But for now, it's all dry still. We're up into P14, just trying to make up these positions, as obviously we pit quite early, so it's just a waiting game of the others to finally make their first pit stop of the Grand Prix. And I would imagine most people are doing just one stop in this Grand Prix. So we catch up now to Kevin Magnussen in the Williams car on the soft tyres still, so he's yet to pit. Vettel, his teammate, has already pit onto hard tyres, so some teams may be thinking they can't make a one-stop work on the medium tyres. Meanwhile, you can see there Leclerc is only now pitting, and he's there. He's so far behind us now in this Grand Prix with that major issue you had on the car. I think I got already a call to say it's been fixed now, but obviously he probably went back so many positions before it got fixed on the car. So poor Leclerc, obviously for the championship part, that helps me out massively, but you never like to really see it fully. I mean, it would be kind of a cooler, obviously, scenario. It would be a fair fight, but he's got some sort of mechanical issue and he's way down the order and probably maybe just outside the points paying positions, I would say, Leclerc. So that's really unfortunate for his championship hopes and just his race in general here at Japan. So we move on to lap number 14 and we're now to P4 of this Grand Prix then. So in the whole pit stop scenario and the kind of pace we had there with a slight bit of damage maybe on the wing, Weber has also jumped us there along with Verstappen, I believe. So the top three are, I think, Lando Norris and the two Renaults of Verstappen and Weber. As we move on to lap number 18 then, the rain starts to fall there. You might see a little bit of spits of rain on the chassis on the top there, or the halo, and the track gets a little bit of a dusting and the tyres have a bit of spray off them. For now though, it's all fine for dry, but I would say probably give it at least maybe 1.5 laps or 2 laps in full, and it will be time for the intermediates and having to take a little bit easy as we go through some of these corners. And here we go now to the end of lap number 19, and the sprays of rain now coming fully down on the screen, and you can see there my engineer actually asked me to confirm to switch the strategy and switch to the intermediate. So taking it easy through 130R and also easy under braking into the chicane, and to that extent, unfortunately, Lance Stroll will catch up to us a little bit there in that much improved Racing Point car as of late in the last few episodes. So we're going to come in for the intermediates then. That will see us through to the end of the Grand Prix then. So the last 8 laps on inters. Obviously, it's not as daunting as it was before, because now we know the pace of the AI is a bit more equalised. after the 1.12 patch here, so we shouldn't be too bad, but still the AI is still pretty consistent in the wet, so we need to watch out for this and not lose any time and positions to the cars behind us, which include Lance Stroll, I think Sebastian Vettel in the Williams car, also Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull, and so those guys could be a threat to us, especially the Racing Point car, very quick in a straight line. So just trying to manage this and bring this home basically. I know Leclerc is down the order. I think he might have recovered to some low points, but he's still going to be a decent margin behind me, so we're going to get some good points on him in the championship. So much like maybe Alain Prost, we just need to not take any risks and just calculate this and get the bare minimum here today, which is going to be P4. We can't get P3 or higher, so we may as well try and settle for P4 and try and get away from Lance Stroll. He was catching us a little bit on lap 27. We got into the last lap of the Grand Prix, actually got away from him quite a bit on that last corner for some random reason. He was just very slow on there, but then I make a mistake into turn one, go a little bit wide there. He gains back that time, so it's been a kind of cat and mouse game. He's been keeping me honest, but I haven't felt too threatened by him, to be completely honest. So it's kind of a very kind of subdued last stint, I think is the word I'm looking for here on the intermediates. But there you go, Lando Norris then, after that amazing turn one move. To be fair, very fitting move for the race lead. He's gone on to win the Japanese Grand Prix for McLaren. Then I think it's a 2-3 for Renault, with Verstappen in second and Weber in third. So we're going to come home in P4, which is disappointing to be fair, considering we had pole position, but it's pretty damn great if you consider where Leclerc is and where Sergio Perez ended up as well. So I'll take that.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
A beautiful performance from McLaren today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack, and having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
So in the end, a bit of an odd Grand Prix, I can't really lie to you guys. P4 there, Leclerc comes home in P9, I think that was. So we come away with 13 points now in the lead of the championship. But that is still not really that massive, and that could swing very easily if Leclerc has a great race and I have a bit of a poor one. And we have got some circuits coming up which are not my favourites, i.e. USA and Brazil. Mexico might be very good for us actually though, the very next episode. But USA and Brazil I'm kind of worried for a little bit in terms of the pace of Leclerc and potentially the two McLaren cars. So this was kind of a needed Grand Prix in a way to kind of get a bit of a cushion and a buffer to kind of, you know, cushion the blow we might get later on there. But yeah, very weird. All the action kind of happened in that first stint, especially with the McLaren, and also the way Leclerc obviously had the issue in literally the second lap, so early on in the Grand Prix, and then afterwards everyone kind of separated quite and kind of filtered out and kind of did their own thing for the entire race there. So a bit of a subdued one, like I mentioned, ever since we kind of made that second pit stop for the intermediate tyres. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.